Am I the a-hole for coming between my mom and grandma by telling mom that grandma blamed my brother and me for her never dating after my dad died? My parents were only 19 when they had me, 19F. They got engaged while mom was pregnant, and mom even changed her last name before I was born. But they didn't get married because they wanted both families there to make it special. The plan was they'd save once they were settled with me, but then my mom got pregnant with my brother, 17M, and it got delayed. And then it didn't happen because my dad died when mom was still pregnant. To this day, mom loves my dad as much as she did when I was little, and probably even as much as when he was alive. She never dated, and always said she didn't have the heart to find someone else. People tried to introduce her to guys who were her type before, hoping something would happen, but it never did. I remember when my brother and I were kids, some family members would ask if we'd like a new dad or a stepdad. Mom would always shut those questions down, and any relative who asked only did it once if mom was in hearing distance from it. The question was something my brother and I hated being asked, and I know we pulled some faces. To us, it sounded weird that we'd get another dad because we already technically had one. He was just dead. I never realized, and I'm pretty sure my brother didn't either, but my grandma, as in mom's mom, held a grudge against us for not wanting another dad or a stepdad, and for never asking mom if we could have a new dad. But she let me know exactly how she felt a few weeks ago. She showed up on campus to spend the day with me, and she was weird and off the whole time. And when we sat down for dinner that night, she told me how disappointed she was in me and my brother, and how disgusted she was that we wanted our mom to stay alone for the rest of her life. I asked her what the hell she was talking about. Grandma said this from nowhere. Our prior conversation topic was how busy the restaurant was. Grandma told me mom had spent 18 years alone, has never been able to get married and never had more kids, has been acting as just a mom since my dad died. She even brought up how close mom and dad's family are even today. Grandma said she saw the faces my brother and I would make when we'd be asked about a stepdad or new dad. She said it was hard to miss, and if we hadn't looked so disgusted by the idea, maybe mom would have found someone new. She called us spoiled little brats, and even said we were defective because most kids who never knew their dad would be way more excited by the idea of getting one. It was crazy, and she said a lot of awful things to me and about my brother. She said we ruined mom's life and her chance at being happy, that if she hadn't had us, she would have moved on from dad eventually. I told her mom is happy, and she told me mom might think she's happy, but she dreamed of 6 kids and a husband and a nice house and grandkids and growing old with the love of her life. She said she could have found another love of her life if it wasn't for her kids' attitude. I left, which forced grandma to pay, and I refused to see her before she went back home. But we did talk on the phone, and I asked her why she attacked me instead of talking to mom. She said mom was unreasonable and never wanted to entertain the idea of dating, and she knew why. I ended the call on grandma, and after thinking it over, I told my mom everything grandma said. Mom was furious, and after yelling at grandma, she refuses to talk to her. Some of mom's siblings are annoyed that I came between mom and grandma. They said I didn't need to tell mom. I'm an adult now and should be capable of dealing with this stuff alone. Mom stood up for me, and she told her side of the family that nobody gets away with talking to either of her kids like that. She said her mom needs to accept the consequences. Am I the a-hole?